Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche podcast. The Avs erased the 8-2. It feels good to be on this side of an 8-2 as opposed to the other side of an 8-2. Utter domination, I think, is what John Mitchell said on the altitude broadcast. Just not even like forget the scoreline of this game. And it was still a wonderful performance from the Colorado Avalanche. Even if they didn't put 8 goals in the back of the net. You were halfway through this game and they'd given up 6 shots on goal.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. Outplayed in every stretch of the imagination. And I know the Ducks were on a back-to-back and they're tired or whatever. But the Avs went out and did what they were supposed to do.
That's a 9-6 team.
Yeah.
They were 9-6 coming into the game tonight.
Yep.
And yeah, they're on a Sega Baba, but we also talk about you have to take advantage of those situations. The Avs will be on the other end of those at some point this year.
Yep.
You have a team that is down. It's kind of the same conversation as when the Devils were here. You have a wounded team. You have
something
a team that
out of your control goes your way.
Exactly, a team that is vulnerable. You have to take advantage, and
they did.
The Avalanche did that. And you talk about stringing good games together. You go from a 5-1 win to an 8-2 win, and you start feeling like, all right, maybe the bad losses were pretty big anomalies.
Yep.
And the focus will immediately shift to you cannot give it back with a bad performance on Saturday in Dallas.
For sure. It's eyes forward, absolutely, for this Colorado team. But for tonight, this is a celebratory podcast. Whoop, whoop. Good times. It's good times right now. AJ, I'm going to put the time on you. 60-second clock. Run down 10 goals for us here. He's warming up.
You want me to run down 10 goals?
I mean, do whatever you want to do.
The Avs won 8-2. We're done. I'm just kidding. It's a dominant start to the first period for the Avalanche. They do everything right. They score first, finally. Shots on goal are 11-0 when they score, when they get on the board. They had given up 1 shot on goal through the majority of the first period. They get a second goal. It's 2-0. Absolutely dominating. They give 1 up at the end. Everybody overreacts to it because it's still 2-1 and you're a bad bounce away from being in it. Second period, a lot more blah. The Ducks push. The Avs make it 3-1. The Ducks push really hard. Best comeback team in the NHL so far against a great third period team. The Avs drop 5 on them in the third period. The Ducks do get another one for funsies, and that's how you have an 8-2 beating.
Ridiculous. Maybe the most impressive part of that stat line, none of those goals scored by MacKinnon or Rantanen. Not that they weren't involved, but none of the goals actually put in the net by your 2-star forwards.
Yeah. You score 8 goals tonight. You have 8 players with multiple points, and Mikko Rantanen and Nathan MacKinnon combined for 2 points.
Some nights, the other guys are going.
See, for a one-line team, it's not too shabby. It's not too shabby, man.
Got him.
No, the death was shining. Death was shining.
Eric, who gets, who we don't have a king of the game anymore, but who's taking the crown on this one? Is it Kiviranta 3-point night? Is it Makar 3-point night? We'll talk about Logan O'Connor, who had a fantastic game on a 2-point night. A lot of choices.
I got to go Kiviranta.
All right.
I don't even know what his final ice time was, but, you produced 3 points at 5-on-5. You know what I mean? Like, it's, again, the one-line team you guys were just talking about.
The fourth line is the only line.
Yeah. Whoops. You know what I mean? So it's nice to see guys get rewarded like that. He gets his contract last week, right? A few days ago, whatever it was. And you need that. You need that. And the Avs are rolling right now. If you look at those 2 games, what is it? How much ice?
929.
Yeah, that's that's production right there.
Points per 60.
Yeah, casual 18 points per 60.
Way up there. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. You know what I mean? So good on them. Obviously, you just talked about O'Connor. I mean, obviously, he was outstanding as well. But I just go back to the first shift of the game. I think Makar blew by the screen.
Yeah.
Then the second shift, whatever it was, MacKinnon blew by the screen. We're like, oh my God. And then maybe a couple shifts later, LOC was flying on the screen. Like, oh boy, the boys got their legs tonight. You know what I mean? It was nice. And like you said, they played I don't want to say a wounded team. I'm saying a tired team. But that's why I always say I love the NHL schedule. You know what I mean? Because it all equals out. There's days where the Avs have nothing in the tank, and then they go and lose a game. People, oh, God, they were awful tonight. I know they had nothing. Well, and then you go into a situation like that and you lose the game, and then people always go back and say, oh, my God, that was a tired team. We should have killed them, and they didn't. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice that they had to win in a sense because they're at home. They're going on the road for 2. And then, they haven't been the greatest the last 3-4 games, but they had a good half of a Kraken game. They did what they had to do. I mean, Rudo always says you can only play the game that's on the schedule, right? You can't play another game. I mean, it is what it is. But they did what they had to do. They made sure that as soon as the puck was dropped, they were flying. And it gave an opportunity for the Ducks to say, like, oh, here we go. All right, we won last night. We'll just take this one off.
And it was a perfect continuation of the end of that Kraken game, right? It looked extremely similar to that third period where the Avs are completely controlling the puck in all 3 zones, giving Anaheim absolutely nothing.
Yeah. And we did the math, right? I mean,
it was like nearly 40 minutes of hockey where they had, 3 shots against and 1 goal against?
Combining the 2 games, right? Kraken and this one. So it's
they snuck a third shot on goal at the end of the Ducks' first
they
period.
They counted one late, whatever.
It was 4 shots on goal.
So a shot every 10 minutes
in about 42 minutes.
Jeez,
and what does that mean? That means you have the puck the whole night. Yeah. I mean, so when you have the puck, you don't have to defend, and that's the beauty of hockey. You get the puck, you control the game, you make smart decisions with it, and then you have elite talent like the Avs do. Even tonight, again, fourth line looked like they were elite talent. Those plays were amazing. Kiviranta makes that play there. It was fun to watch. It was, you call execution. If you go back to a few games, I remember a Pittsburgh game, they couldn't make a pass. You know what I mean? Like they couldn't make 2 passes in a row. And then tonight, the execution was there. It was awesome. And that's the beauty of this league, right? Some nights you get it, some nights you don't. They sure had it tonight.
Well, and I really like your point about the start of the game because, the MacKinnon line didn't produce a ton of points. Or at least MacKinnon and Rantanen didn't. But that doesn't mean they played a bad game. MacKinnon was flying up and down the ice.
That line doesn't produce a ton of points. MacKinnon has 2 assists. Nichushkin scores 2 goals.
That's not a ton of points for that.
Rantanen doesn't have any points at all.
Yeah, that's a slow night for those guys.
So weird, man. It's bizarro abs.
God. Tatar really should have scored that.
I can't believe they're calling this the stop of the game. It's not a save.
He doesn't even get it on net. Yeah.
It's not a save by Dostal.
Yep. That puck never touches the goaltender.
No, it doesn't.
Crazy. And look, finally the Avs get the first goal of the game.
Yeah,
feels like it's been a while. They certainly deserved it. I don't think anyone would argue that point. But other side of this too, Avs have some. I mean, they're perfect on the penalty kill for the night, including some big ones in that first period.
Yeah.
And I know the Avs have played fine at 5-on-5 in a lot of their wins or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you look at the catastrophic losses, and a lot of them involve them losing the special teams battle.
Pretty significantly.
Yeah, they were -4 in the St. Louis game on special teams.
Yeah, got rocked in the Vegas game too.
Yeah,
I mean, just bad.
So they do it well tonight. Particularly the PK I thought was excellent. Had in the first period, I think they gave up 1 shot on goal and like 2 PKs. Maybe it was 2. Still, super strong work from them. Power play started off okay. I don't think it was bad, but they weren't scoring on it early. Obviously, as the game went on, they started converting on those. Is this the Val Nichushkin breakout game?
I mean, we know that deflection, unless you're among the very, 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 very best.
Joe Pavelski level.
Yeah, and Landeskog.
Sure.
That those deflection goals are not reliable enough to say,
yes,
that, oh, hey, you're going to be able to do this consistently. He's on a heater right now. Great. He needed it. But Is this the breakout? I don't know. He was great tonight, so
Totally.
I'll focus on that. But yeah, he's playing alongside those two guys. It needs to be. It really needs to be.
He was hunting pucks, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I love. Man. He's got that reach. The feet are moving. He knocks pucks loose. Things happen. You know, if he keeps doing that, if he keeps playing like that, of course he's going to have some success. And I think that's why guys like 29 and 96 like playing with a guy like that. He does a lot of the hard work, the dirty work.
Yep.
It's not easy. He's got a great engine. Looks like he's feeling good. You know what I mean? I'm talking about feet-wise, and
His ankle,
his ankles, and I said feet, but ankles, but whatever. It's all part of the same
They're all
area. It's kind of nice to see. You know what I mean? He's got that step, and when he goes, he's just relentless. And when he goes like that, then he's very successful. I mean,
And his first goal, what is it? It's him through the neutral zone, getting into
creates
the zone
the entire play
with his feet, and then he gets in, passes the puck to the other guys, and then he goes to the front of the net and waits and tips a puck in.
yeah, and I liked everybody's wall play, right? You know, what I mean, even on the first goal, Tatar, which is not known as a hard, tough to play against on the wall, like
Definitely.
you know what I mean? He plays hard, he plays firm, gets advantage. I don't remember who he beats there, but takes advantage maybe of a tired player. You know what I mean? Like on a back-to-back night, then all of a sudden there's a scramble in front, and then they get that beautiful 1-0 lead. I mean, the Avs are a different team when they score first. We know that. I think any team is. I'm a guy that puts a big emphasis on first goal of games all the time, and especially in playoffs. So I think that's a habit you get in the regular season.
Colorado's just played so well this year with the lead, obviously in the third periods, but in entire games. They just feel near unstoppable when they get out ahead.
They have been nothing short of exceptional when playing with the lead.
Yep.
AJ, you mentioned this during the watch along. 9 points from the Avs defense tonight. Absolutely monstrous.
Did that change?
I don't think
No,
so. I
remember
think
it
it's
was 2 at
still
the end.
9
Remember it was
because
2 in the last
the
play.
Makar assist on the Toews.
Makar
got
assist.
us to
Yeah,
9,
it's,
so
they scored a handful of those goals so quickly that I couldn't remember
3,
which
4.
ones. Yeah, it's 9.
okay.
I'm going to go 9.
Start with Girard here, who has a 2-point night, scores the first goal of the game for the Avs.
Going to the net.
Not in a place you would normally see Sam Girard.
Yeah, 2 of those 9 points come on the first goal of the game. It's Girard
Jack Johnson
cleaning up a rebound in front from Jack Johnson.
Yep. And 2 guys who have not been particularly productive this year. Johnson, understandable. Girard, another one of those guys you'd like to see the puck start going in for a little bit.
1 point coming into this game, and you're like, Girard is off to a really good start on the body of work as a whole.
But points got to happen at some point.
Exactly. He's paid too much money. And, Josh Manson, you're like, hey, he'll give him, you're hoping for 20 points.
Yep.
But the other things that he does is why
Up
he
for
gets
that.
paid.
Yep.
And Girard, defensively, he's been good. But he's not so good defensively that you can give him $5 million
For no production.
and not get points out of him. He needed to get some points going.
Yep.
Gets 2 of them in this game. If this is going to start one of those stretches where Girard scores 12 points in 13 games,
Excellent.
the Avs are going to win a lot of those games.
Yep. And again, it brings a flexibility to their lineup when you have these multiple defensemen going.
Yeah.
Yes, Makar and Toews are huge pieces and important, and they need to be going every single night. But when you have Byram going sometimes, and you have Girard going sometimes,
Yeah. You get 2 points out of Jack Johnson.
yeah. I mean I don't think that's an expectation. But
Of course not. But when you get them, you
Yep.
have to win those games.
Yep.
Boy, did they ever.
Yeah, and just ridiculously productive. The Avs have clearly found success with Makar, not just using his feet, but obviously the 2 tips from Val tonight. That shot from out high from Makar is working right now.
Yeah, and one of the aspects of Gabe Landeskog's game that the Avalanche have consistently missed
the net
is
front tippy stuff. Yeah,
yeah, because the Avs love to play low to high the way that they do. They play so much of their offense through their defensemen, especially Toews and Makar, that getting those kinds of tips, that kind of net front presence, that is going to force teams to come out of their defensive shell to defend them higher.
Yep.
And when that happens, you have guys like a
Space
Nathan
opens up.
MacKinnon, Mikko
Yep.
Rantanen. And so a little bit of success in that area is going to force teams to have to adapt in how they defend them. That makes them more multifaceted, and the more multifaceted you become as an offense, the harder you become to stop. Defenses have to pick a poison especially against a team as talented as the Avalanche. And when everything is poison, it just doesn't really matter.
You're dead either way.
Yeah, the poison is the game has started. So, seeing the Avalanche find that kind of success, and we've been talking a lot about shooting percentages and some of the stuff the Avs have been on the low end of the good luck quotient. I think over the last couple of games that this is what it looks like. It's not that the Avs are so amazing all of a sudden.
It's just course correcting a bit.
Exactly. It's just that what they've experienced have been the extremes. This is a continuation of that.
Yep.
It would be nice to see them win like a 2-1, 3-1 game where you're like, yeah, they just played pretty well and it's a normal game. Haven't really had one.
Yeah, all their wins are 4 goals, at least other than the San Jose one, right? You were looking at
a game with 50 shots on goal.
that ends 2-1 in a shootout.
Yeah. It was like 50-18 or whatever in shots on goal. They win it 2-1. Otherwise, all their other wins.
Blackwood was on fire.
Yeah. All their other wins, they're scoring 4 goals.
Yep.
Plus.
Yeah.
And you can feel it too, right from the first couple shifts.
Yeah.
When they play like that, they steamroll teams. You know what I mean? And it's amazing. And then when they're on there, it's like, oh, this could be a long night. Except maybe the last game, right? They started off
figured it out
too good.
Second
Figured
period
it out
a little bit.
There'll be games
Yeah.
like that, but and there's games that you have to mix and match and figure it out. But when they start like tonight, poof, they're tough to beat.
And when you have a stretch like at the end of the second period, they're up 3-1, and the Ducks push pretty hard. That's where you look at Georgiev and you're like,
this is why you're in. This is
Just-
your job.
get us through this.
Yep.
And then the next time that they score a goal, everybody just kind of shrugs because it's 5-1
It's
at the time.
meaningless. Yeah.
And everybody's like, wow, nice pass.
Good play. Next.
Sucks for Georgiev's stat line, of
Yeah.
course. But I don't
Impact
think
on the game, minimal.
yeah, and I don't think he'll care that much. Like, you're like, oh, he gave up 2. The 2 goals that he gives up tonight, you're not looking at Georgiev in any way.
Absolutely. The first one, I really don't have a problem at all with anyone on the first goal against.
No.
Anaheim gets a puck in the zone. It's a shot from out high, and the guy just puts a perfect tip on it. Mm-hmm. Move on. That's why you score 8, I guess.
Yeah, and if you're... For me, you just give a guy credit for a good tip.
Yeah,
totally. It's easy to be like, how come there's nobody there to tie up his stick or whatever? But they have scored multiple tip-in goals in this game. Like, but when guys are just trying to get a stick on it, it's really hard to prevent them from getting to him.
Well, I want to have a conversation about that very briefly, because we've talked a lot about the one shot Georgiev seems to struggle with are some of those shots from distance.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could get in and tie up a stick to stop a tip-in play, but also that's throwing another body in Georgiev's way of seeing the puck. So is there a little bit of a pick your poison conversation there? Is Georgiev saying, hey, let me see the thing, and maybe you might give up some more tip goals because of that?
I mean, every goalie's different. I remember Patty Waugh always saying, like, even off a face-off, I'm the winger, like, we had a deal together. Like, it was like, hey, I got the bottom, you got the top. So every time on a lost draw, I would go to my point and I'd lay down, the old shot blocking lay down. We don't see much anymore, but that was our thing, him and I.
Yep.
You got the bottom, I got the top. So if he loses it, he knew that it wasn't getting in at the bottom because it would
hit you.
It would hit me. You know what I mean? And then he had the top. So every goalie's different. And a lot of goalies will say, either you block it or you get it out of the way, right? You know, because it's tough for a goalie, especially those last minute tips like Val's tips, right? I mean, those are tough tips. I mean, as a goalie, we see the replay that's, so slow and everything. But at the end of the day, it's so hard for a goalie to make a tip shot, like to make that save.
Totally.
It's impossible. So
never ever going to fault a goalie for a goal like that.
You look at the goal right now, like there's 82,500 bodies in front of Dostal. I mean, how are you going to see
the puck
that?
changes direction at high speed 10 feet away from you. Like, what are you supposed to do?
And then some guys are better than others. Like the big cat Vasilevsky's really good at finding pucks, right? Left to right.
Yeah.
He's also taller, and but he seems to have the knack of which way to look at. And And then some goalies, like we saw Georgiev earlier this year one time, maybe he's looking left and then the puck comes right. You know what I mean? It looks like it's bad, but at the end of the day, it's like a soccer goalie. It's a guess, right? You know, like those penalty kicks.
We have to do something to try and find the puck.
Yeah. So and that's why I like that. You're battling as long as you're not all over the map. You're just looking. You're trying to stay big, stay in your position, and hope that the puck hits you, because a lot of time you don't see it.
Yep.
There's no way you see the puck. So.
All right, let's do our vitamin W here. As we got 100 likes from the chat, we appreciate you very much, chat.
Holy,
thank you. That is these are
I
pretty full.
I didn't pour these
These
time,
are pretty
so
full.
you can't blame me for this. I didn't
This
pour
is
this
this is an
time.
8-2 shot, is what this is.
It's a big shot.
Thank you, thank you. Cheers, chat. Enjoy your vitamin W. Enjoy the 8-2 win. The vitamin W shot is brought to you by Breckenridge Distillery. You can go get their award-winning whiskey today at BreckenridgeDistillery.com. They also have tons of other alcohols as well. If you're into vodka, whatever it might be, Breckenridge Distillery has you covered. And if you want to experience a good time, they are giving away tickets to the Broncos New Year's Eve game. You can go spend it in a suite over at Mile High Stadium. Post your favorite pictures of your Broncos with the hashtag Broncos Bourbon on Instagram today. They'll narrow down the top 10 favorites on December 1st, and then you can vote over at BreckenridgeDistillery.com. Go check it out. Go enjoy yourself some Breck Distillery. You can order online at the website if you want to get yourself some. Did want to continue this conversation a little bit here. How much credit does Georgiev actually get for this game? I know, AJ, you're saying, hey, he stopped the pucks you asked him to stop, particularly at the end of the second period.
Yeah.
But
that's the key.
That's the whole of it.
Yeah, definitely, because it's 3-1. Anything that gives them any kind of life going into the third period, you don't want. They push, your goalie makes those stops at the end of the second. It's 3-1 going into the third. They never really make a sustained push the rest of the game. That was their best stretch of the game, down 3-1. Your goalie makes the stops. I hate the phrase, but timely saves.
Yeah, but it's true. I know we all hate it. It's cliche as hell, but it's true.
I just hate it because all saves are timely.
No, I know what you're saying.
You know?
Yeah, I know. But go back to earlier on in the game. Shots are 7,000-0 Avalanche, right? And it's like 12 minutes, 13 minutes played. He's had no shot, and then all of a sudden, bing, hits the post, right? So that's usually a sign to, again, I'm a goalie guy. I'm a goalie dad. Sometimes you got the angle covered. You got the angle taken care of. It hits the post. That doesn't mean that you were beat. I hate when people say, oh, he hit the post, he was beat. No, they know exactly. It's like golfers. They know exactly where the ball's going. These guys know exactly where the puck's going. So we'd have to look back at the shot, but sometimes you need luck on your side. And, that puck goes in, it's a different game maybe because you're like, oh, boy. You know what I mean?
In the same way. In the same exact manner. Last Saturday, Avs Blues.
The Colton post.
They're down 1. Ross Colton hits that post. Instead of putting it in, that would have made it 1-1. The Blues run away with the game. The same manner tonight.
It makes a difference.
Instead of being in that 1-1 situation where that really hot start does not matter anymore.
Yep.
In that same exact fashion.
And then he made a couple good saves. And then, like you said, there's nothing he can do on those 2 goals. But he was right. I mean, again, I know what you're saying now. Every save is timely. I get it. Again, goalie dad, right? So, but he was sharp. He was fine. And sometimes it's tough. I always say it. You don't get shots. You don't get tested. It's tough to stay in the game.
Does having an assist make up for the sub-900 save percentage tonight for Georgiev?
Yeah, I mean,
For me, sure, man.
Yeah.
Not that we're not even blaming him for the sub-900.
No,
I just mean
Oh my
in
God,
the box.
no.
score.
I mean, there's nothing he could do those 2 goals. I mean, could have been worse. Could have been like 10 shots against. That would have been like, oh God.
There will be games like tonight where he gives up 2 goals that you don't really have. You don't really look at him and say, what are you doing on 17 shots?
Yeah.
There will be another game later where
He gives up 1 on 52 or
Yeah,
whatever.
he has 32 saves on 33 shots on goal, and you're like, not many of them were all that dangerous.
Yep.
A lot of them right to the chest. That's good positioning and all, but
Sure.
a lot of them were right to the chest. Not a lot of second chances. No cross crease stuff. And you look at the goals tonight. It's a tip in front, and it's a cross crease pass.
And again, they didn't give up anything. I mean, a lot, because they had the puck the whole night. I mean, I think the mantra was get on top of them early. These guys played last night, show them who's boss, and that's what they did. And then they made the Ducks just chase the puck around all night long from start to finish. And, when you do that, then you don't give up a lot. It's just math, right? I mean, it's not complicated.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta ask it. I know it's only been one game with Kiviranta, but have the Avs found their bottom 6 combinations? Don't touch them.
Well, I think more than maybe the most important aspect of this is Kiviranta's great. When you're talking about building a lineup, LOC moving up to that third line and the third line
Bombing in a good way.
Just looking awesome. And then, we saw the other day, McDermott, Olofsson, like this kind of
just
like hodgepodge
wasn't really
mix.
fitting together.
Yeah, and the lack of trust in him makes it hard to feel like you have a complete fourth line.
For sure.
And tonight, that's not the case. You have a fourth line that you'll throw over the boards in Cogliano, Olofsson, and Kiviranta.
And feel pretty good about it.
And both your third and fourth lines give you what you want out of them. Now, obviously, the production is insane.
Not expecting that.
Not fair to be like...
It's more so the
We want
shifts
all
of
that.
out of like LOC, where they're in the offensive zone, cycling, dominating the puck possession.
and playing a physical game, making Anaheim work defensively.
Yep.
Because if you're out there on a shift and all you do is play defense, you've accomplished nothing
Yep.
towards winning a game. All you're hoping to do is get through that shift, and it's not worse for you. And on the other end, that's building confidence. That's building momentum. That is getting your team going in the right direction. And when both of those lines are doing it, that's great. But what allows the Avalanche to be able to play guys that are more role appropriate, because playing a Tatar and a Duran there, both of those guys are miscast there. And those guys next to Ryan Johansson, all three of those guys could have easily had points tonight with a little bit of... Tatar obviously does have one.
But should have had a goal.
Should have had a goal that would have been a primary assist for Ryan Johansson.
Yep.
Jonathan Duran was involved in a couple of nice plays as well.
Yep.
But, my gosh. Those guys looking good on a second line and giving your third and fourth line guys an appropriate role to play in.
Play their style,
completely changes the complexion of your lineup, because now you don't have any misfits there doing something that they're not accustomed to doing.
Yep.
You don't have anybody that's uncomfortable. You don't have a Duran. Curtis McDermott, Frederick Olofsson, and Tomas Tatar the other day as your fourth line. And
Three
you're
dudes
looking at
that
it.
just don't go together.
Yeah, and you're just like, this is not meant for this. And so it's no surprise that it does not go particularly well. It's not like a nightmare or anything, but it's a low impact group. Tonight you get three guys that are all playing kind of on the same wavelength with the same mentality, the same style, complementary skills.
Yep.
And one of the appeals of Kiviranta in particular is his skating and his speed that he plays with. He doesn't play the heaviest of games, but the way that he skates and the way that he gets after pucks along the wall and all that is like Avalanche style fourth line guy.
Yep.
We saw that tonight. His speed is a good fit there next to two other guys that skate pretty well in Olofsson and Cogliano. It's a really good fit.
Ran around and created
Again,
chaos. Yeah.
A 3-point night. Just come on.
You take it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great for him. But don't let that create false sense of expectations.
No, but I'll tell you what I like. So when you have lines like that are meshing and everybody's slotted in the right place, like you just well said, I'm a big believer in internal competition. Right?
Sure. Pushing each other.
Well, I am. And I remember, we just had Joe and Peter last week, remember? And it's like, it's human nature. You compete against one another. I don't care what people say. You push each other to be better. You want your line to be better than his. And when you have that right now for a coach, it's kind of nice you know what I mean? Like for a coach, it's kind of nice that, you know, it creates chaos like that. Like we just heard chaos right there down the hall. But what I'm saying is, take the Avs lineup tonight. If Johansson and, you know, Drouin Tatar's line's not going, and then you got Woody and Ross Colton and LOC going, maybe they get more ice and they get more playing time than the other ones. And then all of a sudden it just kind of, you go off of momentum, you go off of feel, you know, which I always thought Mark Crawford was the best bench coach I've ever had. You know, he just knew when to push buttons and when to press the game with a certain line that was hot. Didn't matter if you were like a lower end line or whatever, just go back to it. And I think when you have that, you know, it makes you an even more dangerous team, and we saw that tonight.
Yeah. And I think it's a good point because they're not all going to be clicking every single night like it was tonight. But knowing that they are capable of getting that level, maybe against Dallas, it's that Kiviranta line that's going. So you ride that one a little bit more than the Colton line.
And every coach is like anybody. I mean, I don't want to use the word creatures of habits, but whatever. Like you go back and you're like, oh man, that line was productive. You know, you always go back to it, right? It's like you always went back to Cogliano with LOC.
The safety blanket.
Right? No, exactly. You're like, oh, it works. Let's go back to it when things don't go right. So I think that's what they're doing. And we talked about it all training camp and everything. And it doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a veteran. You got to force teams to make decisions. You got to force coaches to make decisions. And now Kiviranta tonight, he's forcing them to say, hey, I want to be here. You know what I mean? I want to play here. There's a reason why you signed me. And like you said, it's not going to be like this every night. He's not going to get 3 points tonight, you know. But certainly a great start.
I'm the leader of the Riley Tufte fan club on this podcast, and Kiviranta just stole his job. Sorry.
Well, and the problem with Riley Tufte was always that's not what he was going to do.
I know.
It's why when he got here, he's playing next to Ryan Johansson.
Yep.
He does not play. Altitude made such a show of his size every time.
And that's just not his game at all.
It's such a gross misreading of who he is as a player.
Yep.
If he could play that kind of game, Dallas never would have let him leave.
Yep. It's true.
You know, I will say, though, with Freddie Olofsson and now Kiviranta, Val Nichushkin.
Dallas make a lot of bad decisions that work out for the Avs.
Are the Stars going to start having like second thoughts
Nemeth
of
once
like
upon a time?
Yeah, Patrick Nemeth, another good one. Are the Stars going to start being like, who the hell is scouting our AHL team from that organization? Every time that guy's in the building, we need to spy on that guy.
No one lives in Texas from their staff.
I mean, every time they're looking to move on from a Texas Star, shouldn't they be like,
when C-Mac picks up the phone and throws a name out there, Dallas has to be like, all right, we're keeping that guy.
Yeah, when the Avs called about Freddie Olofsson, instead of being like, yeah, we're good. We've got Radek Faksa, who obviously is a better player than Freddie Olofsson, but like, that's your direct competition. Yeah. Why wouldn't you just be like, you know what? That guy can go into free agency and we just hope he chooses to play elsewhere. It's still early, but it is kind of this fun story that the ex-Stars are shining brighter than ever in Colorado.
One final question here. Is Freddie Olofsson patient zero for the zombie virus?
I'm afraid to say yes, but also I can't say no. I looked at him.
He had the undead look rocking it tonight.
Yeah, I was oscillating between vampire and zombie. There were different times where I was like, he definitely sleeps in a coffin. He plays hockey because the games happen at night. You know, like, and he definitely looks like he eats brains.
He's got some zombie mode for sure.
He ate a lot of brains tonight.
He was munching on some duck. I don't know if
he's so good, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, when the Avs pop off like this, make sure you're making some money on it with Bet365. If you miss out on making money on an 8-2 Avs game, that's a tough look. All right, get over there with Bet365. Sign up with the DNVR 365 code. 365 code today. to get amazing all sorts of odds boosts. They got sweet parlays you can get in on. The NHL ones get boosted plus 30%, I think.
Sweet parlays.
Sweet parlays. All sorts of other bets too, including the DNVR custom bet. Dre has a custom bet that we put out there all the time that he's very often hits on. So go check that out. Maybe get in on that action. All over at Bet365 with the DNVR 365 code. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER today. And then, once you make a little extra bread, make sure you're getting your hero bread. Math adds up on that one. You can go over to hero.co today to order your hero bread. It's fantastic stuff because you can eat it no matter what type of lifestyle you're living. Even I know a lot of people, they always talk to me about how they can't eat bread because they're on the keto diet or whatever. With hero bread, you're good to go. It's ultra low carb. It provides a ton of protein per serving and has 0 grams of sugar per serving. So hero bread will take care of you. Make sure you're eating right, even when you're eating your bread. It's not just sliced bread either. You can get buns and tortillas and all sorts of options for whatever type of meal you might be in on. So go check it out today. Hero.co. You can get over there and save yourself 10% off with the DNVR code. Or if you don't want to use the DNVR code because you're lame, you can also get it on Amazon. But go to hero.co instead. Get your 10% off with the DNVR code and get yourself some hero bread. Second-ish period. I feel like our periods are a little off these days, but next segment of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. When you talk about where this game ended up, obviously the first 2 periods are great hockey. I think Avs deserve a lot of credit for the way they came out in the third period. Team that goes out and puts the Ducks down doesn't really leave any doubt in this hockey game.
Yeah.
That's great. How much credit did they get for the remainder of the third period where it ends up 8-2 and it's really just a party lap, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really not unlike, again, it's not like what St. Louis did to the Avs where the Ducks just went away.
Yeah.
No, I think the Avs quit at the end of that Blues game.
Straight up.
And I don't know that the Ducks did that so much. The Avs had days off, and there were things in Colorado's favor that were not in Anaheim's favor tonight. The Sega Baba third period, you're getting beat.
Your legs are dead. Yeah,
You've been pretty seriously outplayed. We really see teams go away in third periods a lot on Sega Babas in Colorado. It happens. It's just kind of part of the deal.
Yep.
And so I don't want to. The Avs did what they had to do.
Sure.
It's a lot of, and if you look at it, if you look at the goals, it's odd man rushes, it's a lot of skating. It's a lot of just their legs are going and they're just beating a team that is playing slow hockey. When you play slow against an Avalanche team that is on it, you're going to lose.
Yep.
And in this case, you're going to get embarrassed.
And it was 3-1 after 2, right?
It was.
Yeah.
And we were just talking on a pregame show. 6 games out of 15, well, NHL record, right? Comebacks. And I tell you one thing. Yeah, they had no legs. Yeah, they were tired. Yeah, they played the night before. But they score a goal to make it 3-2. It's amazing what it does. And you're like, oh, here we go again, boys. We can make our comeback again. You know what I mean? So it was very important for the Avs to get that 4th one. I don't remember who got the 4th one, but
Ross Colton.
Yeah,
was that the Ross Colton
Ross,
one? Yeah, huge play in the game there. That's the point that all of a sudden it's like, okay. And then the Avs just throttled them in the third, which, again, tired or not, it's still a team that's been really good in the third period. It's the Ducks. And the Avs passed the test with flying colors on this one.
When I think in the third, and to get to the 5 goals, obviously, their goaltender plays his worst period of the game. He'd been really good up to that point.
And it just cracked.
But Ross Colton scores, he's in by himself.
Yep.
So it's a clean look.
Yep.
Val Nichushkin scores, it's another tip.
Yep.
It's on a power play. Like, some self-defeating stuff from the Ducks there.
But that's still Avs converting real opportunities.
And you make tired mistakes, and a good team makes you pay.
Yep.
They get that goal back, fine. But then you get back-to-back goals out of your fourth line, and then Devon Toews gets one from Makar and MacKinnon. And
empty net.
The reason why I mention this is that that's not your top line putting a team away. Your top line got the 8th goal.
That's them getting the freebie.
Yeah, like that is your team just kicking their ass.
Yep.
You know, and from the Ducks' perspective, that sucked. You're glad it's over. It's a Sega Baba in Denver. Teams struggle to win those on a consistent basis. But Greg Cronin can go into the locker room and he can say, you know, to a young team that he's trying to change that culture in and he's trying to bring a different attitude in. He's going to look across the ice and he's going to say, that's a learning opportunity for us.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like. That's exactly what Greg Cronin is telling his team tonight. That is what we want to be.
Yep. It's a great point. I really don't. We're going to try because we're a podcast that likes to at least try and look at all angles here and be honest about things. Negatives from this hockey game? It was that good.
No.
I would say your biggest negative is probably the Mikko Rantanen double minor for high sticking that could have changed the course of that game.
Yep.
If Logan O'Connor does not take advantage of rookie Leo Carlsson selling out to keep a puck in the zone on a power play,
Yep.
and then just losing a foot race because Logan O'Connor is really fast.
Yep. To negate the second half of that thing. Well,
Yeah.
it was the middle half,
Yeah,
really.
to remove
but
2 out of those 4 minutes.
Yeah.
You get 50 seconds on either side. That kind of sucks.
we had much less cool power play.
So, yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest negative that sticks out is that Rantanen penalty could have really flipped the game on its ear in a bad way. It's,
For sure.
you know, you're dominating the game, and anytime you open the door for the other team,
I would go, you could even take it a step further and say it's just too many penalties from Colorado. They've got to tidy it up a little bit.
yeah, especially like
I know you didn't love the Druin call, but that's another offensive zone penalty. Yeah.
Exactly, it's an unnecessary penalty. It's in the offensive zone, and you're dominating a game, and you're handing the other team an opportunity to climb back into it, give them a chance to believe in it. 4 penalties altogether, and all 4 of them come in the first half of the game.
Yep.
Before things get out of hand, like
Right.
you're asking for a problem, and hey, your PK does a great job.
Yep. They give up nothing. So
I think that's probably the negative that I have is,
but there really aren't many.
yeah, discipline continues to be questionable for the team.
It's been
Taking a lot of penalties this year.
throughout the entire chunk of the season. It's been different guys. We kind of talked about on the watch along. Byram was terrible about it earlier in the year. You've seen a handful of dudes, Mikko being one of them, taking some bad penalties in the last handful of games that drew in as well. And it's not like these are earth-shatteringly bad stuff. It's just, hey, these are the types of things you need to clean up when you're a good hockey team.
Yep.
So, but other than that, I mean, I had to throw it in there for the show, but this was a great hockey game from Colorado. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah, very different kind of studs and duds coming tonight, where I refuse to give a stud after the Blues game.
You're going to have a lot of studs
Opposite
tonight.
now.
Yeah, the dud will just be discipline.
Yep. Pretty
That's
quick
it.
and easy.
That's it. There really isn't anything else I'm complaining about.
Yep.
I agree.
Other thing, going forward, anything they could do better to set themselves up for Dallas?
Well, do better, not after tonight, but I think that you just, build off of it. Build off of the last half, the Kraken game, build off of the start, and especially the whole game, but I'm talking about the start. You know what I mean? Like, you want to get at them.
Yeah.
You want to show them right away you're fast, you're excited, you're in their building. You want to show them who's boss, right? I said that earlier. I'll say it again. It's a big divisional game. Dallas is a good team. The Avalanche are a good team. They're going to have 2 days rest now before the next game.
I want to ask you, 2 days off, good or bad? Because you get the rest of legs, but does the heat come off a little bit after a game like this?
No, I like it. You know what I mean? I like it. Take advantage of it. I mean, I'm not sure if they have a day off in there. Like, I'm sure they'll have a practice somewhere, maybe a day off and then fly out. Maybe practice tomorrow.
No, they practice tomorrow.
Yeah, and then just maybe Friday, just come to the plane and go, and then morning skate Saturday. I just like when they start fast and start on time. They're such a different team when they do that. Usually results in the first goal, which is a big stat for me. So, I don't know. I'm excited for the game. I'm excited to see what comes of it. They're like I said, they can't play any better than they have the last 80 or 85, 90 minutes. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
If you do the math, it's and one was at home, one was on the road. So it was important. It was important to get back into the winning column at home tonight. They did that. Now I think they're just gonna focus to Dallas, and it's kind of nice that the Death scored a lot of points, like you said.
Yeah.
The top guys got some points, but it's not like they were dominant. But expect a big dominant performance on the score sheet, Saturday by the big boys.
It's an important game.
Yep.
Yeah, that one kind of a big game for this early in the season.
Yeah.
Sets the tone for the Central Division, kind of.
And, 4-point games with the two teams at the top of the division. Everybody else in the division is like, just don't go into overtime.
They want the meteor, yeah.
But, yeah, you're talking 23 points for the Stars, 20 points now for the Avalanche.
Yep. Avs have a game in hand, I think.
Not yet, but I assume the Stars play again before
they
that
did
game,
before
so
tonight, yeah.
I assume they will also play. I'm assuming tomorrow.
Would make sense.
The Avs are the ones on the weird schedule this week.
Yeah.
But goal differential for the Stars plus 13, for the Avs is plus 10. And you want to win that game in regulation, and you want to let them know that, like, hey, we here.
Yep.
There's not you're not going to run away from us. We had our bad stretch.
It's done now.
Yeah, and the difference, Dallas is once again spending a lot of time beyond regulation.
Yep. Getting games to OT.
And they learned the hard way last year that you can live and die by that.
Yep.
The Avs spent a lot of time beyond OT last year, or beyond regulation last year.
Yep.
As well, which is why they lost the tiebreaker. Right now, a pretty big lead in that. All of their wins are, except for the San Jose
Except
game,
for one,
are regulation wins, and all of their wins are rows.
Yep.
Right?
So, yes.
Did they win that one in shootout? I actually just don't even remember.
It was a shootout. It's everything but the
so
San
everything
Jose
but the San Jose game is a in their tiebreaker advantage.
Yep.
So it's obviously way too early to be looking at it, but you keep an eye on it. Which team are you taking more seriously as a consistent threat? The teams that win in regulation are the ones. Teams that have to get into beyond regulation in the regular season don't have a ton of postseason success.
It's true.
Historically speaking, just because 3-on-3 and shootout does nothing to prepare you for overtime.
Yep.
In the playoffs.
You got to win games at 5-on-5.
Yeah, and if you win games at 5-on-5, you tend to be a team that wins games in regulation.
Yep. You really go down the checklist in this game, and all the things you'd like to see the Avs do better. Get the first goal. Have better possession. Convert opportunities.
Special teams.
Good special teams.
Goaltending.
It's every single check mark except for maybe the discipline one. I have no negatives. It's fun to watch hockey that good. And the Avs aren't going to be that good every single night. But to have that in the bag, especially, again, on a night where you didn't get a ton of production from your top line, it's a good hockey team. On that note, if you've been run over by a hockey team and it's not your fault, call Bacchus and Shanker at 222-2222 today. Or, if you've been in a real injury situation like a car accident or something happened at work, any situation where you were hurt and are not at fault, give Bacchus and Shanker a call. They will give you a free consultation, and if they take on your case, you pay them nothing up front. They don't get paid until you get paid. So go to the 2 number, go to coloradolaw.net, hit up these guys. They'll be in your corner. They just want to get you paid, and they will do that. They've won over $1 billion for their clients the time they've been doing this here in Colorado. Get with Bacchus and Shanker. Bacchus and Shanker wins. And then we're also brought to you by, I think it's Breck Brew, right? Yeah. Breckenridge Brewery. Go over there, get your Breck Brew anywhere in the 50 U.S. states. You can go to breckbrew.com and use their Breck Beer locator to find it online near you. Get the tasty stuff. Come to the bar. I know we got a super chat from our homie who was in the bar tonight, so we'll hit that in a little bit. Get yourself some 8 different kinds on tap here at the bar, which, by the way, come on down on the 18th for a good time. Have a hangout, have a Broncos watch party. You also get a chance to win a full trip to Vegas for the Broncos-Raiders game. You can go have a good time at Circa enjoy life in Vegas. We're giving away a full-on trip, so you might as well get down here on the 18th for that. And, of course, brought to you by Illegal Pete's as well. Delicious stuff over there. Absolute burritos to die for. You can go over there, get all that. Their queso, so good. What?
Go ahead.
Illegal Pete's also has happy hour from 3 to 8 p.m. So if you want to spend your evening vibing, great place to do it. There's one just a couple blocks from the DNVR bar that you can get your pregame on before you come down here to hang out. Check them out. Get yourself some delicious burritos at Illegal Pete's. While AJ's having a giggle session, we can do our super chats.
You see this altitude thing with Makar and the new skaters?
Well, I didn't see it.
Oh, he's working with kids who have never skated before and trying to teach them how.
Got it.
Got to respect Curtis McDermott's work ethic.
$5 from RTV, who says Avs looked at the Ducks and followed the wise words of Tobey Maguire, saying, "I'm going to put some dirt your eye," and did exactly that.
I don't know that anybody has ever referred to anything that Tobey Maguire has ever said as wise words before. So that's cool for him. Big for Toby.
I don't even know where that quote comes from, to be honest.
I don't either.
It's Tobey Maguire, so I just assume it's Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but like didn't actually know
Spider-Man 3 is the one you watch and forget about.
$5 from Henry. Don't see a comment, but thank you. Oh, there's the comment at the bottom for another $2. Caleb Jones continues to impress. He was good tonight. I don't think he was great, but good.
Looks solid in the minutes that he's getting. Is encouraging that Bednar already has a willingness to play him now.
Yep.
5-1 and 8-2
Makes it easy.
easier to play in the third period. I went and looked after the last game though, and did not get a major bump in shifts in the third period of the Seattle game.
So
Pretty steady
level,
throughout.
yeah.
So he was just part of the rotation that night. I imagine tonight will be similar.
Yeah.
Well, it helps that he can move with the puck and he makes good decisions. And
Yep.
we were just talking about puck possession, and the Avs, when they have the puck, they're pretty dangerous. And, it starts with your back end.
Yeah.
Not just activating, but make him take the tape passes coming out of, corners or areas behind the net, not just rim pucks. And, I remember back then, guys would be like, I don't want to play with this guy. All he does is rim pucks, right? So you want to make sure that he seems like a guy that can make plays and nice outlet passes. And it's kind of fun to see. And it makes a big difference in the lineup the last couple of games for sure.
Especially for the Avalanche. They don't do a ton of rimming pucks.
They do not.
That's not how they want to play, and so that he has that ability. This is really just like reinforcing why we had talked about him as a target over the summer when they made the trade for him, why there was excitement.
Yep. Stylistic fits.
Yeah, like Jack Johnson has I think points in 3 straight games. Did he have a point in the Kraken game? I think he did, right?
I want to say he did, but I don't know.
He had the goal at the end of the Blues
Yeah.
game. He has 2 points tonight, and he has 3 points in the last 3 games for sure. That guy's not coming out of the lineup.
No.
So, to see Caleb Jones doing well for himself, though, whenever Josh Manson gets back, it sounds like he's at like a true day-to-day.
Yeah.
Not like a day-to-day and what's become an Avalanche day-to-day. Assuming that is accurate, Caleb Jones has done only good things for himself.
Very true.
And you have to feel really good about the call-ups that they've experienced so far this year. Caleb Jones has looked good on the back end. Sam Malinsky was quite good against the Kraken the other day.
It's not
You
like
had to
Riley
love that.
Tufte was bad in his showings either.
Riley Tufte's first game was
Yeah.
pretty solid.
Yep.
After that,
It was fine.
Kiviranta, pretty
Obviously good
The one game of
tonight.
Andre Pavel went
Was
pretty
good.
well.
Yeah.
That was really good that game.
So you are feeling like, your biggest question marks remain Tomas Tatar and Jonathan Duran.
Yep.
Jack Johnson, like those 3 guys, you want to see steadiness out of them. And, I'm going to always have the axe to grind about the Jack Johnson stuff. But if that play drops to where the coaches say, look, Caleb Jones was just too good. Now they've seen it in an Avs sweater. It closes the gap and says, all right, we feel pretty good with this guy in our lineup.
And again, if your biggest problem is your number 6D.
Seriously, you are trying to make the worst part of your roster better. Not this guy is responsible for winning and losing.
Yep.
We are just trying to min-max our roster. That's the conversation about Jack Johnson, Caleb Jones, all those guys.
Yeah. We also have Kevin giving us $2 who says touchdown and 2-point conversion. Good guys win. It's a lot of points for a hockey game.
How do we know it wasn't 2 field goals and a safety?
Could have been. We
2
don't
field
know.
goals and they snapped a punt out the back of the end zone.
You lost me now. Football.
$10 from Nate who says 8-2 Duck, yeah. Just that easy.
I agree.
Whoop, whoop.
$5 from Melanie. Go Avalanche. Great game. Take care. I think you found your optimism again, Melanie, after these last 2 games.
They tested her.
Yeah.
Melanie is back. You know the Avs are back when Melanie is back.
$5 more from RTV to clarify that it was, in fact, Spider-Man 3. Thank you. And then a huge $50 from Shannon, who says, lucky enough to travel to Denver from out of town, stopped into the DNVR bar and met the guys. For all you skeptics, I can confirm that they actually exist outside of the computer screen. Thanks for all the years of content. Thank you for the ridiculous super chat and for coming down to the bar and saying, what's up? Always awesome to meet people. If you're ever around, come down to the bar. We'll stop and say hi to you. Just hit us in the DMs and let us know or whatever. And
Sorry, I was distracted.
it happens.
I was in the midst of paying. So I was like splitting the attention.
Yep, it happens.
Felt bad.
Either way, we appreciate all y'all in the chat. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up and go do the rest of our work?
Carry it on to Dallas. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, just back to work, you know?
You went 1-0.
Yeah, and we were like, oh, you got to string them together. You know, you win against Dallas.
That's a win.
You look at the upcoming schedule with Nashville, Vancouver, Minnesota, Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Some struggling teams there. Obviously, Vancouver's on an absolute heater.
Bound to run out sooner or later.
Right, and
Be
you
that
might
team.
be you might be the stopper for that kind of thing, you know? So you win the game in Dallas, and it sets you up to maybe have another one of those 5 or 6 game winning streaks.
Yep.
With the way that the schedule is setting up.
Get it while it's good.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of all how you build a successful regular season.
Yep.
You're gonna have bad nights. You're gonna have down stretches. You're gonna have they've won. You know, they've gone. What was it? 2-5.
Yep. It was 2-5.
And so you're like, okay, you know, this is a bad stretch of the season.
Yep.
Come out of it, you win a couple of games. You win in Dallas. You beat a team that you need to beat. You know, that you want to beat, and you're competing with the division. All that shit. You know, you do that, but then you do set it up for now. Your next 10 game segment is it had a kind of a rocky 1-1 start. Now you're all of a sudden 3-1. You win the Dallas game. You're at 4-1 in your next segment, and
you're feeling pretty good.
You're like, hey, that 8-2 is very attainable.
Yep.
That's our goal here.
Yep. All right.
And the Canucks are tied 3-3 going
Oh boy. Oh boy.
2 minutes left.
Can't trust this Islanders team. I've been saying.
We are out of here for the night. We will be back tomorrow. Eric and Megan back on the show. Maybe talk a little bit of Hall of Fame action. I don't know what they'll do on that show, but
yeah, you guys have fun.
We shall see.
I'm not going to be on it, so
yeah.
You guys have fun. But we appreciate all of y'all hanging out with us late night as we do. We'll see you on the 2 p.m. show tomorrow. Until then, we'll talk to you later.
Y'all silly like the mayor.